Have you ever felt like English grammar is just this mountain of endless, complicated rules? It can feel overwhelming, right? Well, what if I told you it all boils down to just eight simple building blocks? That's what we're going to dive into today, the 8 parts of speech.
Yup, you heard me right. Just 8. That's it. Every single word you've ever said or written fits into one of these 8 little categories. So for a minute, let's just forget about memorizing a million rules. I want you to think of it more like having a toolbox with 8 specific tools. Once you know what each tool is for, you can build absolutely anything.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, the whole shebang. Then we'll get right into the heart of every sentence. After that, we'll start adding some color and detail, the fun stuff. We'll look at how to connect ideas and even how to pack a punch with pure emotion. By the time we're done, you are going to have your very own complete language toolkit. Okay, let's get started with the master blueprint. And you know what? The core idea here is actually super simple. Every single word has a job. That's it. A part of speech is really just a fancy name for that word's job description. You can think of them like 8 different families, and each family has a specific role to play in the neighborhood of a sentence. So this right here, this is our roadmap for today. You see, we've got nouns for naming things, verbs to show action, adjectives to describe. You get the idea. We are going to break this whole thing down piece by piece so you know exactly what each part does, and more importantly, why it matters. This is the key to making your own writing and speaking way more clear and a lot more powerful. Okay, first things first, let's start with the absolute non-negotiable essentials. Seriously, you cannot have a complete sentence without these 2. They're the foundation, the concrete slab, and the main support beams. They are the what and the action of literally any idea you want to get across. And here they are, the dynamic duo, nouns and verbs. You can think of them as the 2 main pillars holding up every single sentence. On one side, you've got nouns. That's all the stuff we talk about. And on the other side, verbs. That's what all that stuff is doing. Together, they are the absolute core, the beating heart of a complete thought. So let's break it down. What exactly is a noun? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just a name. It's the person, place, thing, or idea that we're talking about. It could be a person like Ram, a place like Delhi, a thing like a team, or even something you can't touch like an idea like honesty. Here's the rule. If you can put a name to it, it's a noun. Simple as that. And of course, nouns come in a few different flavors. You've got your really specific ones, your proper nouns like Delhi. Then you have the more general ones like just city. They can be a whole group like a team, or even those abstract ideas like honesty. But look, the main thing here isn't to get bogged down memorizing all the labels. It's just to see how much stuff we can actually name. Okay, on to the verb. Now, this is the engine of the sentence. The verb is the word that tells you what is actually happening. It can be a full-on action like run or write, or it could just be a state of being. Words like is, am, or seems. Without a verb, a sentence is it's just a boring list of names. Nothing's happening. Now check this out, because this is a really important little distinction with verbs. Some verbs, we call them transitive, need an object to make any sense. Like if I just say, she reads, you're going to think, reads what? It feels incomplete, right? The sentence needs a book to finish the thought. But then you have intransitive verbs, like sleeps, he sleeps. Boom, done. The thought is totally complete all by itself. All right, so we've got our foundation, nouns and verbs. But let's be honest, a sentence like boy reads book is pretty dull. So now it's time to add some color, some flavor. We're going to bring in the words that add all the juicy detail and description. This, right here, is how you make your language really come alive. So, allow me to introduce you to the artists in our toolkit, adjectives and adverbs. And their jobs are actually really easy to remember. Adjectives add detail to the nouns. Adverbs add detail to the verbs. It's that simple. One describes the thing, the other describes the action. Here's a great way to think about it. Adjectives basically answer questions about the noun, like what kind of person? Oh, a tall person. How much water? Just some water. See? Adverbs do the same thing, but for the verb. How does he run? He runs slowly. When did she leave? She left yesterday. These are the words that give our basic sentences all that richness and detail. Okay, quick recap. We've got our core building blocks, the nouns and verbs. We've added some color with adjectives and adverbs. But how do we actually link all these pieces together?
Well, now we're going to talk about the glue words, the words that show relationships and connect everything. Honestly, mastering these is what makes your writing and speaking sound super smooth. And our two main connector tools are pronouns and prepositions. You can think of pronouns as these awesome, efficient shortcuts that save us from sounding like a broken record repeating the same nouns over and over. And prepositions, they're like a little GPS, showing us where everything is in space and time. I mean, seriously, pronouns are lifesavers. Instead of saying something clunky like, John said John's car is new, we just say, John said his car is new. So much better, right? And prepositions give us context. They create the picture. The book is on the table. The meeting is at 3 p.m. They give us all those crucial details about place, time, and direction. All right, we are on the home stretch. We just have our final two tools in the toolbox. One is for joining whole ideas together, like a super connector. And the other, well, the other is just for adding pure, raw emotion. Let's talk about conjunctions. If prepositions are the glue, conjunctions are like the super glue of language. They can do simple things, like joining two words, salt and pepper. Or they can do heavy lifting, connecting entire complex sentences, like, I wanted to go to the party, but I was too tired. Those little words, and, but, because, they are absolutely essential for building bigger, more interesting ideas. So let's think about this for a second. We've covered words that name, words that show action, words that describe, and words that connect. But what about those little words that just kind of burst out, like wow or oops? They don't really connect to anything grammatically. They just happen. So what is their job? And here is our answer. Interjections. These are the words that express a sudden jolt of feeling or emotion. We're talking joy, surprise, pain, you name it. An interjection is basically a gut reaction that you turn into a word. It's just that pure, vocalized feeling. And what makes interjections so special and kind of weird is that they're total loners. They're completely independent of the rest of the sentence. They don't connect to anything, they don't modify anything. They just show up, usually with an exclamation mark, and add this splash of pure feeling. Like, wow, that's actually pretty cool when you think about it. And just like that, we filled up our entire toolkit. We started with what might have just seemed like a simple list of 8 weird terms, but now we've got a complete set of language building blocks. And each one has a very clear, very distinct job to do. So let's take one last look at our blueprint. I mean, it's the exact same chart we started with, but it looks different now, doesn't it? Because now you know the role every single piece plays. You know that a noun names, a verb acts, an adjective describes, a conjunction joins. You get the whole grand design now. So when you walk away from this, just remember this. Nouns are your foundation. Verbs give that foundation life. And all the rest, that's the color, the connection, and the character. You officially have the full toolkit. The only question left is, what are you going to build?